20 years ago, going to a nightclub for a drink and a dance was considered a rite of passage. In towns and cities across Australia, people flock to sticky dance floors and crowded bars. But it's increasingly becoming a thing of the past, with dozens of nightclubs closing across Australia. Industry veterans say it's partly due to rising costs, but also changing habits, with younger generations healthier and more wholesome than the party animals of the past. In the remote northern town of Broome, the once pumping Skylar Bar nightclub sits empty. 15 years ago, the tourist town had 2 nightclubs. Now, the one that's left, Skylar Bar, is barely opening. The main reason the club's been closed this year is due to a lack of staff. But Stewart Burchell, who's run the place for 6 years, says people are also just less interested in going clubbing.
So over the last 10 to 15 years, nightclubs in general have been in decline. I read a report last week that there was 59 in WA, now it's down to 37. Obviously the pandemic's had something to do with that. People not being able to trade, they've obviously gone out of business. But across the country we've seen that.
It's a global trend. Nightclubs shutting their doors as younger generations opt for small bars and festivals instead. In the United Kingdom, the number of nightclubs has more than halved in the last 15 years. In Australia, industry data shows a gradual decline over the past decade, accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, with more than 100 venues closing over the past 2 years and shrinking profits for those that remain.
A much more diverse range of social options for young people now. Back in the 80s and 90s, nightclubs were probably the most exciting game in town until a casino came to town. Now there's small bars, there's all manner of different festivals and other options.
In the Victorian city of Geelong, Mario Gregorio has been running nightclubs for 20 years and says it's become a challenging business model.
Liquor licence fees have increased dramatically by 300% to 400% over the last 10 years. Also, music licence fees have increased dramatically as well. The gap is quite small in margins, but not like it used to be, that's for sure.
He says nightclubs will have to adapt to stay relevant.
Probably the most popular club in Geelong is actually a pub, which has a massive beer garden. So people like to dress down now and have a bit more of a relaxed atmosphere. Festivals are also popular, and online dating services are popular as well. So people can generally just stay home and go online and, look for partners that way, I guess.
His staff reckon young people are drinking less and going to bed earlier.
People also don't go out for as long as well. Like, they tend to go home a lot earlier than what used to happen, say, 10 years ago. Like, 10 years ago, people would go home at about 6 in the morning, whereas now people are leaving to go home at 2 in the morning.
And COVID has had an impact on lifestyle habits as well. Some believe Australian nightlife may never return to pre-pandemic levels.
Big part. I think people have got comfortable in the last 2 years of being at home in their comfort zone. They don't have to venture out to do anything because it's all on social media, and they've got comfortable with that.
That's also apparent back in Broome, where 20-year-old Harry and his friends are having an afternoon beer at a local microbrewery.
People are wanting to drink during the day, get more photos during the better lighting, something like that. Just means they're home earlier and, in bed earlier, ready for work the next day, rather than feeling pretty average the next day after not much sleep.
They'll be heading home around sunset, Harry reckons. A good time had without dancing till dawn.